The screen froze a little bit, so can you repeat the last 30 seconds, please?
Yeah, so it's just to say that um, what we need to make sure about is not only do our standards developed to meet the specific requirements of uh, managing a particular aspect of the city, like transport, construction, and so on, but that these standards see how they are part of a bigger picture, about part of the city as a whole, and can work across domains and not just on their own. And that's really what a systems approach is about. A systems approach is where we look at a domain first of all. How does transport work in the city? What are the different? You've got cars, buses, trucks. You've got trains. You've got trams. You've got cycles. You've got electric scooters, maybe. So you've got people walking. So there's all sorts of different transport happening in the city. How can we look at that as a whole and understand how each of those different transport systems impact on the other, and then taking it wider, and how do all of these different domains work together in the city? What are the dependencies they have on each other? What are the linkages, and what are the potential synergies? And so what's needed is that kind of bigger picture that then enables the experts that are specialists in a particular area to work well on designing what they know well how to design, but understanding that what we're designing is going to be used as part of a complex system, and we need to address not just the simple things that we are expert on, but we need to make sure that we design it to be able to link up with these other things as well. So that's where a systems approach is vitally important.
And in the case of a smart city, we consider a city as a system of systems that are linked between each other. And when we have a city operations center, we need to monitor all the aspects of the city in this
Yeah,
center, for
we,
example.
we do. And it's, I mean, obviously, when you're looking at things like digital twins, where increasingly cities are developing digital replicas of the city to help understand better how things are working, and to provide real-time monitoring of all the different things in the city and their dependencies. So that's a very good example of where we need to see how these things the linkages, and to make sure we're designing things to work well together.
Perfect. Thank you. We have another question. What's the relevance of the standards to the fast development and increasing impact of artificial intelligence?
Yes, of course. This is something that we're all very aware of, and also, potentially it's one of those things many people are worried about, because things in artificial intelligence are developing so quickly. And of course, the challenge is that artificial intelligence is in everything nowadays. We hear about ChatGPT and Gemini and all of these different OpenAI and all of these things, which are looking at large language models, or issues like that are coming onto our phone, where it's bringing together information from, for instance, looking at documents around the world, and trying to see how it can understand, write things better, bring together information from many sources in an intelligent way. It's looking at photos and images, so how it can recognize different things. So we see all of that. But of course, it's not just to help us individually write a good CV when we're applying for a job, or write, or get a good start in writing a paper, or a proposal for something. And that's, that we're all aware of that. But we look at for instance, we look at autonomous cars, autonomous trucks, and so on. They rely on the fact that they've been capturing video of, or real-time information about how cars move around, the kind of things that happen, and using that to help pulling artificial intelligence to help cars be able to drive with minimal human assistance. And we're looking at we look at, for instance, in surgery, where it's being used to help people to analyze the particular piece of surgery that needs to be done, and to provide much better information to the surgeon to help them do a better job. It's in every aspect of our life. And developments in one area of AI are feeding into developments in another area of AI. So we've got this kind of ever faster flow of innovation, and all of us can see it's great, but we're not quite sure what the impact might be in the future. And we hear we see in warfare, for instance, where drones are using artificial intelligence to be able to target key people. And the challenge of that is that, of course, it means that actually, if there's a war, none of us are really safe. You can have drones that can come and target all sorts of important people, or hospitals, or all sorts of things like that. And we can already see some of the dangers of artificial intelligence. So the difficulty is, when we think about standards, what is the role in that? Because it's happening so fast. But I guess there's several things where standards are really important. Obviously, the first thing is to provide some clear guidance about safe ways to develop artificial intelligence. What are some of the dangers, and how can you mitigate those dangers to help provide to help guide the development to make sure that it will have positive impact and not have any unintended consequences. So there's a lot of work that is being done and needs to be done about standards to help, if you like, manage and guide that development in safe ways. So that's obviously really important. But we also need to think about issues like how to make sure that if I purchase, the kind of normal kind of standards thing, if I purchase an AI system from a supplier, obviously particularly with artificial intelligence, where there's developments all the time, it needs a kind of a contract with that supplier to continue to work, to review, to update and improve that service or that system I've paid for, I'm paying for. The challenge, of course, is supposing that supplier goes bust, goes out of business, becomes bankrupt, or potentially starts to become too expensive, and their competitors are able to provide a similar sort of AI service more cheaply. How can you make sure that there's interoperability requirements built into these different systems, so that if I purchase a system from one supplier and for whatever reason I need to change to another supplier, I don't lose all the data that's been gathered, I don't use all the insights, but at least there's an important core of data and insights that I've gained that can then be ported to a new supplier to help continue with the work. So there's many other things that we could think about, but standards have a very important role, and it's a very big challenge to think, because it's a very different kind of world of development, and it's a very rapidly changing world. But it's very, very important that we, as standards organization, think about how we can help, not to regulate AI to the extent that it stops innovation, because we need that innovation, but to see how we can do it to promote healthy innovation, positive innovation that will benefit humanity, and also help to provide a marketplace that's open, that allows choice and competition, and that makes sure that all the innovations in AI are available at an affordable price.
Talking about AI and standardization, do you think one day we're going to use AI to develop standards or implement it?
We definitely will. Our days are numbered, Giovanni.
Someone has to be the system.
Well, I mean, the point is that we don't know. In a way, and that this is a thing that people are worried about, or this is the concern. We know that at one stage, AI, it's already clever than us in some ways. It's not as clever of us and others, but in some ways, it's far cleverer than us because it can draw on much greater knowledge and insights than we can. But at the moment, because there's many areas where it is stupid, it needs people like you and I to help manage it and use it and direct it to specific problems. But we know that increasingly this is going to become less and less true. The only question is how long it's going to take. Is it 5 years, 10 years, 100 years? We don't know quite, but we do know that at some stage, a lot of the work we do as professionals is going to be taken out of our hands. And it's difficult to know quite how that will work out in the future. What it is about partnerships, and it's about us as standards professionals learning to use the tools that our AI can give us to do a more effective work on standards, and maybe to build standards more quickly, because a lot of the kind of heavy duty lifting can be done by AI, while we can learn from it and move more quickly into seeing, well, what requirements do we need to set. So at the moment, it's a clear requirement on us as standards professionals to see what we can do in learning, in working in partnership with AI, to learn how to do that well, so that we come up with something that blends our human understanding of what's important and right